me finish.
Okay, well, I thought I had, but go ahead.
Okay, y'all, let's take turns and let each other finish.
Welcome to Let Me Finish, the podcast where three minds give their unfiltered and sometimes unpopular opinions on all the craziness going on in our lives and in this world. We're your hosts, Jillian,
Janice.
And Michael.
Settle in and let's take a deep dive.
Okay, we are back with another episode of Let Me Finish. This is episode 68, so another celebration there. I said every 5, but anyways, episode 68. I'm your host, Janice.
I'm Jillian.
And I'm Michael.
Okay, welcome back, guys. So this week, we'll just jump right into it. As far as our weeks go, mine was very chill. It was a short week, so it was a holiday week. We already talked about what we did on our Labor Day weekend and everything, right? So coming back, it was like a 4-day week, but I swear it was like it
felt longer.
like an 8-day week. But I think the last 2 weeks has just been really long for us because of the layoffs and kind of the chips are kind of falling where they may at this point. Everything's kind of settling back down. So just finding everybody's meeting our new senior vice president, our vice president, in those roles, being able to meet them, understand their vision. So we did that this week. And the cool thing is they did take us all to Topgolf as like just a team bonding thing. So
That's cool.
That's nice.
And I did pretty good at Topgolf, I will say.
Okay.
Yeah. And I
you.
definitely had my arm was hurting
Yeah.
the next day.
Oh, for sure.
I was like, look at me over here really trying.
Yeah.
Because then Lakin was trying to make fun of me talking about, oh, Janice, are you losing? I said, excuse me? And then I kicked it into overdrive.
Are you competitive in nature when it comes to stuff like
Yes,
that?
I'm competitive with everything.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a family thing. I just think we're just all very, very, very competitive.
Interesting.
Yeah. You never thought I was competitive?
No, I've known you for 200 years and I never knew you to be competitive.
Because, the things you guys like to play was tag. I was not competitive at tag.
Okay.
Fuck tag. I hated tag. They always wanted to play mother effing tag.
You're right.
And you didn't like it.
I hated tag.
it.
But if board games and stuff, I was definitely trying to win.
Oh, okay.
No,
Dang.
yeah, I'm competitive. And the thing about it, if I'm not going to win, I probably will be like, I don't want to play.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is probably why I didn't want to play.
That's why we have to be very limited when it comes to Uno and Taboo at our house. Because we be like,
We actually
loud.
we had to kind of give up on Taboo because it got vicious.
Really?
We're bad, yeah. Yeah, we're bad. Yeah, Taboo.
We take it very serious.
We take it very seriously. No prize money, but we take it seriously.
I believe it.
It's embarrassing.
It's still fun.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing is
We still
what
have
it
a
is.
great time.
Because what is it? There's what is it? Smart Ass. The trivia games get a little bit more challenging, but.
Which I love trivia games.
Hey, but I won the last time we played.
You did.
Hey.
It's
I'm
good
a
to
winner.
be competitive, but not over. Like my ex, I won't say his name, but my ex was so competitive to the point where he would, like, if we'd be on the same team, he would yell at me if I wasn't doing well. And I'd be like, okay, this is a game.
It's not. Okay. Relax.
Yeah, calm
Well,
down.
like, what do you mean yell at you?
Like, he'd be like we would play.
What are you, stupid?
He wouldn't say, "Are you stupid?" He'd be like, "Why would you do that? You know that da-da-da-da-da." And it's like, I did what was best.
Right.
At the time, so that's why it ended up sucking. But to me, a game is just a game. I mean, I don't get competitive about it. That's me.
I mean, if you're having fun, it is what it is. But
Yeah.
in general, like card games in general, we would because we would pay, like something simple as Go Fish or blackjack.
Speed. He used to get like we used to scratch each other.
Oh my goodness!
Try to put cards down all quick. That would be on accident, but we'd be that competitive.
Yeah,
accident.
yeah, it was an accident.
Yeah, it would be Jillian's nails scratching. She used to have those long nails.
So,
But no, I get it. I get it because some people, I mean, I like to play games with you, Janice. I'm like, oh, sorry. So I try my best to kind of reel it in depending on the audience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I'm with a
Depends on
really
who you're
competitive group, then yeah, I'll get competitive. If I'm not,
You'll tone it down.
then I'll try to tone it down. Yeah.
yeah.
But like me and like even though all my really, really good friends, like Lake and Ashley, like they know when we play games, I'm serious. I'm trying to win.
Yeah.
What are you trying to do? Trying to be on my team? Trying to be on just go over there if you're not trying to win.
Yeah.
Over there.
This is the winning team.
I'm trying to win.
I'm trying to win over here. So if you're gonna be over here like, I don't really care. Like, Michael, I love you to death, but I'd probably be like, go to the other team. You're not trying to win. So I mean, do you try to win, or you're just like, if I don't, just relax type thing?
I don't care.
Oh, you don't care. Okay.
That's what it is.
So you need to be on the
I need to
team.
be on the other team.
If you don't care, I need you on the other team.
Yeah.
Because I need you to give like effort.
Yeah.
Like 100% effort.
Yeah. For me, it's just not. To me, it's a game. Like, I'll play for fun, but the moment someone's like, not you, but like my ex,
I
he
get
would
it.
get very like hostile. I'd be like, this is not fun anymore.
Oh.
No, I get it. I get it. Nobody wants to be in a hostile environment while they're playing a game, and I can get too serious sometimes.
At least you know it.
I know I can. Yeah, I do. I do.
It's okay.
Like beer. I mean, any game, beer pong, trivia, like taboo, Pictionary, like three-legged race. I'm trying to win.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Who doesn't want to win?
I don't
Yeah.
know. I like it.
It's a good feeling.
Yeah.
I feel like,
Yeah, I do.
I don't like you being on a losing team.
Yeah, I feel you. Like even like baby shower games, like I be trying to win.
Yeah.
You
I be
go
trying to
out.
get the prize.
Yeah.
But then it's a little different. You have a prize.
Yeah.
But anyways, it got a little off subject. Jillian, how was your week?
Good week, because it was a short week, so trying to fit 5 days worth of work in 4 days is it can be hard. But powered through, made it through. By Friday, I was caught up and pretty chill by then. And then I started a new book, and it's called, y'all were making fun of me because of the name of the book. It's called Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi.
Oh, that's the book we talked about last time?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is
Bloody what?
yeah, so it's let's say like Harry Potter meets like Hunger Games kind of thing. So there's magic elements in it.
Hunger Games at its core is pretty disturbing.
It's very dystopian.
In the sense that they live in a dystopian
Yeah.
society, but it's set in Nigeria, and they do have elements of magic, that people have magical abilities. And then the ruling power, they lost their magical abilities. So to be able to stay in power, they pretty much took out all the people, all the different clans whose family members had magical powers, to be able to get rid of magic altogether from their country. And we're diving in with these two characters whose mother was magical, and they call it the raid. Their mother was killed during the raid. And so magic hasn't manifested for many, many years, and now it's starting to come back. And so they're in this power struggle now. So I'm only like a fourth of the way through the book. So it's starting to get really good. So I've enjoyed that, because I don't read a lot of young adult books, but this one I'm like, oh, okay. It's at first, like I said, it's a slow start, but
Maybe one that gets you back into reading more. You're saying you need something to get you back in.
It's starting to ramp up.
I feel like young adult's a good place to start with getting back into reading. Just because it's usually a quick, easy read with young adults.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And then, so there's that. And then I started a show, which I'm actually almost finished with the second season, called Kevin Can F Himself, which is a very interesting premise to it. Janice, it actually stars
Alexis, good girl from Schitt's Creek.
She's in there. So the whole premise of the show is that it's told from two different perspectives. It's really told from her point of view, but from her, how she views her life is viewed as a drama and very dark. And then anytime her husband, which is Kevin, comes into the frame, or they have any interactions with him, it comes off as a sitcom, a light, funny haha with the laugh tracks and the super bright.
So from his perspective, they're in this happy utopian world. Yeah. From her perspective, she's miserable.
She's miserable. She hates her marriage. So I'm on season 2, and I'm just like, okay, it's actually getting really good. And it's funny to see her switch between drama and comedy. So I thought, oh, that character was her
Alexis.
character's Alexis. Now every once in a while
Alexis
she does
Rose.
have that nerve, the thing with her hair. Like in the beginning, you can kind of her still do the thing with her hair, but now that she's like deep into the second season, she stopped that. And I was like, okay, now her acting chops, like she's leaning more into the actual character.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, and I'm just like, oh, I can't wait for shit to go left. And
If you're already on season 2, then you're a good amount. Okay.
yeah, it just released to Netflix. It's an AMC show.
Yeah, I watched it when it came live.
Oh, you did? You liked it?
I didn't finish it, so not enough.
Yeah, I do.
Not enough.
It's actually getting really good, and just to kind of see her navigate her life, you can tell them just like, oh my gosh, how can you're her husband, and you can't see how miserable she is, and just completely void of nothing. Like it's almost like she's furniture in the house, and
That's common.
yeah, like he has a better relationship with his best friend than he does with his own wife. Like he treats the best friend better than his wife. And I was just like, dang. And even now that I'm in the second season, even now the best friend, you starting to see where he's not seeing him the same way anymore either. Because a lot of times his scenes, when it's from his perspective, it's in that drama perspective instead of the comedy perspective.
Gotcha.
And so I've liked it. I'm halfway through season 2, so I'm almost done. There's only 8 episodes per season. So.
Well, that's short.
It's just 2 seasons. There's no more after that.
Like I said, it just dropped on Netflix, and so it's an AMC
Did
show.
they not release all the seasons all at once?
Yeah, 2 seasons.
Okay.
So I don't know if
That's what I think.
there's more out there. They just maybe if there's a current season or there's going to be a new season coming up. I don't
No,
know.
it's definitely past that. I think it would have had more seasons. It would have been out by now.
Oh,
'Cause
okay.
It's been out for quite some time. So
Yeah, I believe they referenced 2020 in one of the shows.
yeah,
So
I think it was around COVID that
yeah.
it
Well,
dropped.
I just discovered it because it just dropped on Netflix. So
Okay. Well, that's good to know that, yeah, Kevin can F himself is the name of the show. Michael, yeah, no, you said you're always like, he's always like,
Yeah, I always
my
struggle
week.
what to say about my week because I genuinely forget what transpired in the week since I last had the last episode. I did go and see an advanced screening of Beetlejuice.
Oh, wow. Was it good?
I liked it.
I think you said you gave it a B
Ooh.
I
minus.
gave it a D minus. Yeah, I liked. I thought I was gonna love it, and I didn't. But it was good. It was good. They did a good job. I had high expectations.
Very, 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 very high.
And so when
From
I saw-
Beetlejuice?
Oh, the original was incredible. It's incredible.
It was
filmmaking.
good, but I wouldn't. Honestly, I'm surprised they even did a second one.
Oh, girl, there's so many
But
fans
I
out there.
think, yeah, the original
cult
Beetlejuice
classic.
has so many, many. It has so many actors you probably will go back and watch. You're like, oh.
Yeah.
No, it's not that. I love the original Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
I just thought that was for me in my mind is a one and done. It was
Sure.
just
It was very,
intended
very
to,
cult
yeah.
classic.
Yeah.
Very
It came
cult
out in
class-
88. So this
Yeah.
is 36 years later, and they still managed to do a really good job.
yeah. But I wasn't expecting to surpass the original.
Sure. Yeah.
So I guess for me it was just okay. Here's Beetlejuice.
Right.
Hey, Sonora, take it all the time.
Yeah.
Work,
Yeah.
Sonora, take your body right. That was on the end of the movie, of
Yeah.
the original one.
They did a good job. For what 36 years later, what are they supposed to do? You know,
Yeah.
they-
I mean, I think
I didn't think there would be
I
that
think-
much story left because didn't he?
nowadays
die
with
at
old
the end of
school.
one?
No. I don't want to say anything.
Okay.
No, he didn't die at the end of the original.
Yeah, I
He
mean,
got
is-
sent back.
is
He goes
dead.
back.
I mean, he was dead to begin with. So
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Like, but he's Beetlejuice.
yeah. It's funny.
Yeah.
Did y'all? I know I watched this the Beetlejuice the television show, the cartoon.
I loved it.
Oh, I did watch the cartoon. Yeah, we watched.
Yeah.
Loved it. I
That
loved
was
it.
great.
It
I
was
love that.
So good.
Yeah.
I can't say I loved it, but I mean, I watched some episodes. I watched it. Like, I don't know if I loved it. I don't know.
I loved it.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
Maybe. But maybe. I don't know. So yeah, we're gonna do something different this week, and we're going to go around and we're gonna give embarrassing stories of ourselves because we all love a good embarrassing story to
sure
laugh
do.
about, right? So here we go. We'll start with Michael.
Okay,
This
so-
is his thing.
So I was performing in San Diego. I was doing a repertory theater production of Taming of the Shrew. And for those of you that don't know, repertory is when you do one show one night and another show the other night. So you're doing 2 different plays and you're playing different characters in each play. So it's a lot of memorization, a lot of remembering things. I opened the show in Taming of the Shrew. I played Lucentio, and I literally opened the show. Like, I come on stage with he's my quote unquote servant. That's his title. So he and I are walking on, and I'm supposed to jump from one box. It's literally a box, like a.
No, Michael,
yeah,
no.
You know where this is going. And there's a second box.
Oh no.
When I say that I ate it, within 7 seconds of the play, the audience gasped. We were sold out. The audience goes,
And where were you in New York?
no, it's in San Diego.
Oh, still.
At that point, I was like,
You died of several deaths.
Just kill me now.
Just kill me now. And the worst part
End of
is,
year.
in character, I go, Tranio, I'm fine. Tranio was my servant. And then I got up and like fake dusted myself off. Like, oh, did you see that? Like, you didn't tell me you saw something. Like, I played it off.
Yeah. Good job.
But the audience
What
was
a professional.
The audience was just like, damn, he fucking ate.
Good thing you didn't get up and. Good thing you're good. I'm fine. And then when you get up, you're like, shit, my legs broke. Shit, my ankle. I can't walk. So you're not fine. You're not fine.
Actors heard it and ran up to the wing because they were all laughing at me.
I'd be like, close the curtain. We
They
won't
were
do this
laughing?
again.
Yeah, they were laughing because it's hysterical. I fell.
Oh my God, I'd be so scared for you. I'd be like, you could have really hurt yourself.
I could have, but they saw that I was fine, so they were just laughing. I would have laughed if it were someone else, as long as they weren't hurt.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
the most
I'd be so
cringy
mortified
part.
for them.
Oh, Janice, the cringiest part was the audience gasping. I mean, 78% of the audience went, and then that's just the worst. The worst feeling. The worst.
I would have definitely gasped.
And every time you stepped on the stage, I'd be like, oh my God, I feel
He's
so
gonna,
sorry for him.
and that's
Girl,
the rest of the time I'm on stage. I was
I'd
one
be
of the
like,
leads.
I wonder if his shins are hurting, his ankle.
No one's paying attention to jack shit of what I'm saying
Oh
because they're all
my
thinking like,
gosh.
"Oh, that guy's
I'm like,
probably
is he
in pain."
bleeding?
Yeah.
Because you know, sometimes you drop them from boxes. Sometimes when you like miss the box, sometimes you hit your shin on the edges and shit. You know?
Well, and this was a high box, so I jumped from one to the other and didn't land. And that's why you better believe.
Were you scared to jump moving forward or every time you?
You better believe the next time I
you
did
were
it,
like,
I was like, don't talk, just
jump.
because I was speaking as it happens, which was
So you're
not
like,
too many things at one time.
okay. So you're like, let me just jump to this box, then I'll go
Then
into
I'll
my
start
dialogue.
talking, yeah.
Okay.
And the worst part is that I'm not kidding, it was 7 seconds into the show. So the audience got a show before the show even started. And I'm like,
I'm surprised they
let's just
weren't
call
like
curtain.
I'm surprised they were like curtain.
We're done.
Let's just start over.
Yeah,
we're gonna start over real quick. Sorry guys.
Sorry about
Michael's
that.
gonna do it, and Michael's like, I'm just gonna start off on the second box.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do another jump. I'm just gonna start here to be safe.
I was mortified. And the worst part, I say the worst part, but truly the worst part is my co-actor, my servant.
Yeah.
His jaw, because he thought I really hurt myself. Yeah. So his jaw was to the floor, and he just looked like he saw a ghost. And I looked at him like...
I would have been
You
like,
guys should have just seen Michael's face.
I was
wide.
so annoyed. Like, I was so, not annoyed. I was so, like, embarrassed.
Mortified.
Mortified that...
But you kept the show going.
I kept the show going, and I was
What
in
a
character.
professional.
I literally just brushed myself off, literally, and I was like, "Tranio, you didn't tell me about like."
So maybe some of the audience is like, maybe it's a part of the.
I doubt anyone thought that.
No.
You're like,
As
that
soon
did
as-
not look
As
fake.
soon as he said his setup and he said box, I'm like, oh no.
This is good.
And I had to jump. I'm like, oh no.
Girl, I have so many embarrassing stories with falling. So.
Yeah, and it's karma because I laugh when people fall all the time, including my.
Oh, see, and I don't. I'm always like,
I
oh my
do.
God, are you okay?
No,
I
laugh.
always laugh, so it's karma. I deserve it.
As long as I know you're okay, I'm just like.
It's the face they make when they fall. They're so vulnerable. They're so
Especially
vulnerable.
older people.
Especially when you see people like.
When
When
it's
they
like
have that
that
look
slow
in their
motion,
when they have that
like,
look in their eye, they're looking at you like, please,
and there's nothing you can
please,
do.
please. You're
Yeah.
like grabbing for anything.
And there's nothing
Yeah.
there.
That's me though. That's part of my problem when I go to fall. I tried way too hard to stay up. And I think I ended up making it way worse.
Just give in.
Because I'll be falling for like a while. Like one time I hit my foot on the like a curb, and I tell you, I probably went a good 10 feet before I actually fell. Like I was like trying so hard to catch myself so long.
I would have died laughing.
I was like literally on the other side. I was like, I really took a long time to fall. Like I just did not want to. I was trying to beat gravity. I was trying to beat gravity. Is what I was trying to do.
It's not gonna work,
and it made it so much worse. I fucked myself up that day.
Oh my goodness!
But I went like I'm just saying, like from where I started falling, where it ended was huge gap.
I believe it.
Huge.
Aww.
Huge.
Poor Janice.
Anyways, that's not even my embarrassing story.
Okay. I guess I'll go next. So, it was my junior year of high school. I was on the drill team, and we had a pep rally. So, luckily, during this pep rally, only our officers were actually performing a big dance routine. But, you know, we're there, the football team comes on, and we have our pom-poms and all that stuff, and we're cheering, and whatever. And so we do our thing for the pep rally, but then when the officers were performing, the dance team was sitting behind them on the baseline in the gym, and I kept noticing, like, man, my leotard is pretty low. I'm just like, I don't know what's going on. I kept having to pull it up because it kept dropping down really low. I said, oh, this is
showing
weird.
all the goodies.
But I was able to, girl.
She had some goodies then too.
Mm-hmm, I have, they good. So, but I had my pom-poms. I was able to kind of hold my pom-poms in front of me, kind of sort of hide it. I'm just like, I don't understand what's going on with this leotard, thinking something wrong with the leotard. It wasn't until I got back into the dressing room to change back into my street clothes that I realized I had my leotard on backwards. I'm just like, oh, hell. I was in front of the entire student body. I had on my leotard backward. I was just like, I've never been so embarrassed in my entire life. Woo.
Did you tell anybody? Like,
no. No. Absolutely not.
You didn't tell it? I would have been like, girl.
Yeah.
My leotard backwards this whole time.
And you didn't tell me?
Like, I thought my titties is hanging out.
Yeah. No. I quickly changed and try to sear it from my memory. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't. I just forgot my story.
Oh.
I really did. I had one.
Well, if you think of it in the middle of the episode.
But, I mean, I'm just going to say another one because I have lots of embarrassing stories. So, I mean, most of them consist of birds.
Yeah.
Of some sort. So... Because I freak out, and just so you guys know, I'm like terrified of birds. I have a phobia of birds. It's a long origin story, so I won't even get into that. But anyway, so I go to lunch with my coworkers. So these are quite a few coworkers and some people like they're like managers and things with us at work. It's like a table full of people, probably like, 3 or 4 tables full of people just kind of going down the line. Mm-hmm. Well, we went to On the Border and everybody's like, oh, let's go sit outside.
Instantly pisses
First
her
of
off.
all, like,
yeah.
Oh, great. It's going to be hot. And then I'm thinking there's birds on the patio. They're like, oh, they won't come up to you. They won't come up to you. Janice, you'll be fine. Janice, you'll be fine. Okay. And I'm going to start, when this stuff happens, I'm like, told you.
Yeah.
Because you guys shouldn't have forced me out here, right? So then, girl, we're just eating, and a bird flies on the table. I flipped. I almost knocked the whole table over.
Oh my God.
No, I screamed very loudly, and then I fell. I dropped to the ground very quickly, and I went underneath the table. And everybody was like, oh my God. Like the entire, not just the people I was with, but the entire patio was like, what's going on?
What's wrong with this lady?
And I'm like, it's a bird. And so that was the first time I think Lake and my best friend, that we've been best friends for like 13 years now, but I think it's a couple years in. And she was like, that's when I realized she's really afraid of birds. Like she's actually afraid of birds.
Yeah.
I'm like when I tell people, they think it's a joke. I'm like, this is not a joke.
Yeah.
I'm scared.
Yeah.
Okay. So I have to show people like, okay, here you go. I'm going to show you. Since you didn't believe me, I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you. So yeah. So that was my embarrassing story. I embarrassed myself in front of an entire restaurant full of people.
Perfect.
Outside. It was great. But
yeah,
And then the day I was like, I have a phobia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Leave me alone.
Anytime we do any kind of dinner reservations, they'd be like outside or patio.
Absolutely.
I'll be like, inside, please, because
You never
my
know.
sister's coming and she will literally shit bricks if any kind of bird comes around the area.
And I will.
Plus
Like,
it's hot outside.
I've like literally, I think one time we were downtown. We were going to we were going on the train or whatever. And I went with my cousins, Craig and James. And I told them, go scare those birds off. And they just didn't. And then they just walked off. And I stayed my happy ass where I was. And so they were like, where's Janice? And look
In the
back,
middle
girl,
of
I'm
the
still in the
street.
back. I'm still across the street. And I'm looking at them like, when you going to scare the birds off or what? Because I'll
like,
be over
they're
here.
like, Janice, come on, Janice, come on.
I was like, no.
She's like, no, I'm not
No.
going. They're like, we're gonna miss the train. And she goes, I don't care.
I don't care. You have to come back and get me because aunties are not. My aunt Sonia and my mom are going to be very upset if you come back without me. So figure it out.
So there.
Scare these birds off and let's go.
Yeah,
Yeah, he had to scare them off.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. No, it's, yeah.
yeah. She like
It
literally
cripples my life.
Janice is like taller than me, and she's had like a death grip on me when walking by, and there's a bird, and literally I'm just like, Janice, ooh, girl, come on now.
Jump on Julian's back.
And it's all
She
birds.
with me.
would.
It's all birds, right?
She would.
All birds, really all birds.
Especially crows.
Definitely the black ones, yeah.
Yeah.
Any black, dark ones are more scary. But even the seagulls are super scary too. They're so big and white.
They're loud.
And they're loud and so yeah, like little ones I can tolerate as long as you just don't come too close.
Yeah.
Penguins, I'm okay with penguins because they don't fly.
No.
Yeah, like one time I
Hawks are
saw a flamingo flying, I freaked out. I was like, ah!
I didn't know they flew.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
they
I saw
do.
it just gliding. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, we went to the arboretum too, and she's like, "Wait a minute, there are birds in here?" Because they have like an atrium. The birds are able to kind of fly around. When I
said I
tell you,
can't
we
go in
had to
there.
speed walk through that part
I
of the
believe it.
atrium.
Look down. Don't make eye contact.
Yes, girl. She literally was holding on. At the time, it was her ex boyfriend, me, and mom, and literally we had to speed through that section because Janice is like, "If you want me,"
arm around me. I was like, ah!
yeah, like literally, like
That's hilarious.
Because where was it? It wasn't the arboretum. It was the
aquarium. I'm sorry,
It was the aquarium. Why the hell we got birds in here?
That's a good question.
I mean, they had a panther there too, so
And what the hell?
you didn't know that.
This ain't no zoo.
This is for the aquatic animals.
Yeah.
Aquatic.
You tell me that bird breathes underwater.
That's what I
tell
said.
Me.
Drown that bird.
Janice. But yeah, they had a panther at the.
Yeah, I think they did.
Dallas
The
Aquarium.
aquarium was really cool. I actually liked it.
Yeah, I like the aquarium.
Okay. But yeah, that's my scary story. I mean, pretty much all my scary stories center around birds of some sort. Oh, that's the story I was going to tell and then I fall a lot. And sometimes my underwear shows
If she's
Yeah.
wearing a dress,
because I wear dresses. So that's, yeah, I'm just embarrassing. Just live a very embarrassing lifestyle. But anyways, guys, so we are going to, then we're just going to take a quick break and then we're going to come back and we're going to be talking about Gen Z. Okay, and yeah, we're back. That was our quick little music excerpt. So right now we're going to talk about Gen Z, right? So Gen Z and just really the differences with Gen Z compared to millennials and really all of the generations before Gen Z, because I do feel like Gen Z has a very different playbook. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
Right.
Agreed.
So I'll start.
Okay.
So for me, my overall thought with Gen Z is like I have a mixed feeling about it because I do think they do set better boundaries than we ever did, and they're like, hey, look, if this is what you said, then I'm going off of work. I think when it comes to the work environment and like not being taken advantage of with working to like overtime, not being paid for overtime, or, you know, protecting your time, taking vacation,
Life work balance.
Yeah, life work balance. I think they have a better way about going about the work life balance, but at the same time, like I do miss the hard workers. Like just work hard. So I don't know. It's like I go back and forth because I do know those those Gen Zers that it's 5:00. I'm gone.
Yeah.
I don't blame them. I'm the same way.
I'm gone.
I'm gone.
I'm like more of a work till the work's done.
Yeah.
Like, cause we're all a team and we all have to get this work done anyways. So let's just finish it.
So do they not get their work done? Is that what you're saying? At 5:00 they don't get their work done?
Yeah. Sometimes not maybe everything that should have been done that day. No.
Is it crucial that it couldn't wait till the following day when they're back on the clock?
I mean, obviously not, because that's what they do, but
It's more the look of it, the optics.
it's the look, it's the optic, it's just we grew up with the whole just work hard. Just work hard.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're saying they're not working hard?
No, I don't believe they do.
Oh, okay.
No, I don't believe they do. Not hard. They work.
Maybe
They work.
Maybe they work. Maybe they're working smarter.
Ooh, I don't know about that.
You don't think so? Okay.
I don't
don't-
see a lot of Gen Zers coming in and having better ideas than me, working harder than me, putting in the effort more than like, and I say me, I don't mean just me. I mean millennials.
Yeah.
I've not seen a Gen Zer to me do a better job than a millennial.
Because I mean, Gen Z, they're still young. I think they're so.
Yeah, but when I went into the workforce, I went in full force.
Yeah.
Because I knew that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, but I think also I actually kind of like their approach to work, where they're not making work their whole life. I think they were like, I come to work to pay my bills and that's it. I'm not putting in any extra effort, because I think they realized a lot sooner than I did as a millennial that you can work yourself to the bone. You're not going to get rewarded for that, at least not financially.
True.
So me personally, I'm saying, yeah, you know what? You're right. Why am I putting extra effort and getting nothing in return?
Let's be clear though. In my 20s,
and no take.
I definitely did what I wanted to do. I definitely partied. I definitely went out later. So the difference is I would party at night and go party all night and then sleep for an hour and come to work. Because I chose to stay out and party.
You chose that lifestyle.
That Gen Zer, just call out. I have time. I'm just gonna call out. That's the difference. I feel that's one of the differences.
That's you. I think you're thinking on a personal level instead of a overall level. Because I think, you know, I've worked with plenty of coworkers that are boomers all the way down to Gen Zers, and I do have boomers and millennials who will call in and lie about why they're calling in. They're saying they're sick. They just don't feel like coming into work, that's up to you. If you don't, sometimes you just need a mental health day. I'm not taking it personally.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to ascribe this certain characteristic only to Gen Z, where I think that's something that I've worked with boomers like, dude, you're literally taking up space and nothing else.
Yeah.
Where to the point where I'm just like, man, you should have retired 10 years ago.
If you're not here.
You're not here. So they may be here, but I think some older generation, they were just like, you're here because you can't afford to be anywhere else. Where they're literally just breathing air, and they don't bring even 50% value to the company. Because a lot of times when they do their work, and we're like, what are you doing? That's not how we're supposed to do it. And there's the constant correction and having to repeat things over and over again. Yeah. And with millennials, you have some people who are lazy and don't want to come into work. And I hate this job. And like I said, I've worked call center. I've worked frontline in banking. I've worked retail. Retail sucks.
Retail does suck.
It's something, I think it depends.
I liked my retail days. I take that
No,
back.
I hated my retail days.
I wouldn't say, because I worked at Express and Beauty Brands. Those were my two main retail jobs. And I feel like because they were a little bit more little, I wouldn't say high end because it's not high end, but it's not like working at a Walmart. I feel a little bit more posh, a little bit more sedity.
Yeah.
So I don't think it was as hard or as like I feel like working at a Kohl's is going to be more difficult than working at an Express. Yeah. Like or a Money Exchange or like a Coach store.
It's
like it's gonna be different. When we have those main huge retail stores where people are just throwing clothes on the ground and just
Okay, yeah. So my retail experience has been Kohl's, JCPenney, and Victoria's Secrets, the beauty department. Not I didn't deal with laundry. I worked on
I feel like
fragrance.
So Victoria's Secret, I bet, was not that bad.
No, it was worse.
Really?
And that's more like a company culture. So most people don't know. So Victoria's Secret's, Bath and Body Works.
Oh, see, but I'm talking about the customers, like dealing with the customers and the trash and the disrespect.
So the trash wise didn't have to, because most of them it's not a large store where, the entire store.
Right.
Versus working when I worked at Kohl's, like, the baby department was bigger than the entire store when I worked at Victoria. So it's square footage. It's just
there's way more to cover and
and so it's quick put things back on the shelf. So that's different. But if I worked in jewelry at Kohl's, I would kind of be able to be comparable as far as like work when it comes to cleanup. Working in clothing versus beauty or jewelry, it's a totally different experience. But for me personally, it's not even so much the customers. I'm just like,
you're used to that.
I'm used to that. You're gonna have bad customers. You're gonna have good customers no matter where you work. It's the culture. So I liked working at Kohl's when it came to like the actual company and the workers, but like Victoria's Secrets, like they did some BS talking about, oh, you're on call. What do you mean I'm on call?
On my day off.
So what they would do is they would schedule you for a certain shift, but you'd be on call. You have to call like an hour or two before your shift and say, hey, do you need me or not?
Express did that.
And I was just like,
Express did that.
And I was just like, so you're taking up you're monopolizing my time, and because you don't know how to schedule people based on traffic, and so pretty much what they would do is managers, which are salary, they would work. I worked in one in the mall, of course. They would only the managers literally open and close, which I don't know how they did that. And then like in the afternoon, when it gets busier, when people are getting off work during the week, they would have you on call. But if they saw that, hey, I can still handle the store by myself, they would call you off.
Gotcha.
So they would either have two or three people be on call and maybe one or maybe two.
It's a lot of people on call.
Yeah.
I think maybe one person on call would be decent.
Yeah.
So this is how they did it.
How often would you put you on call schedule? Like
during the week, Monday through Friday, you were definitely on call.
And did they
every day?
No, not every day. So I was only part-time. So if they needed me, they needed to save those hours for the weekend.
Oh.
So they couldn't monopolize my time during the week, which this is why when I was on call, it was only be like 4 hours.
Oh, so it wasn't a full-time position?
No.
Okay.
Mm-mm. And trust me, if you worked at Victoria's Secret, the only time you were full-time is if you were a manager. So they always did that.
Shitty.
So I'm just like, okay, so you guys don't know how to properly staff people, and so they monopolize your time, and they'd be like, "Oh,
piss people off.
Yeah, no,
and you can't, and that's why
they did
were
the on call thing." But as I'm saying, it wasn't like you were on the schedule with on call often. It wasn't like it was like here and there.
No, it was all the time, Monday through Friday. You had at least two shifts where you were on call.
It's annoying.
So I'm just like, okay, so 2 days, I don't, am I off? Am I not off? How do you pay your bills like that when you don't know exactly how many hours you're going to have?
Yeah, that's
I've
always thought with retail, that shouldn't be I'm paying my bills with this.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's like
because you don't know.
There's some people who do.
But again, with retail, your shift can get cut at any point, and you're not going to get 4-hour work weeks.
And I think with retail, I think they would do a better job I understand having some part-time associates and to help in the afternoons and on the weekends, but you should have some full-time associates as well that could be there consistently throughout the week. Those are going to be your leads, your senior person that you rely on. But they don't want to do that. They want to keep everyone part-time except for management, so they don't pay insurance. You don't have to do 401k, even though Kohl's they automatically had you in for a 401k even if you're part-time.
Oh, cool.
And they put money in no matter what. But you want to be able to, and I think that's why a lot of times when it comes to retail, these companies, like, they're running their associates ragged, and that's why customers can't have good experiences. If you like where you work, you're able to have a better experience.
Yeah.
I think that's why when you go to Costco, you typically have a better experience because they actually treat their associates like actual human beings.
Like Trader Joe's does.
Yeah,
that too.
Trader Joe's. It's just like when you like where you work and you feel like you're
where do
getting
you
a
think they
benefit back.
don't treat people like that? Like Walmart?
Walmart.
For sure, Walmart.
Yeah. Honestly, I love Target, but I'd say Target.
Target pays people good though.
They do?
They do pay them
Like
good,
18
but you can
plus.
see.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I
you can
just
see
figured
with
they weren't-
Target, like they've definitely have had a shift.
Yeah.
Where they're definitely going to the Walmart when it comes to
Style.
style, which is, I think that's where they mess up, because I'm just like, you guys have
do you
a really
mean?
good product. Where it's now with Walmart, now they, and I have this problem with Walmart and with Target, where they invested a lot into self-checkout when they realized people were stealing from them, because I don't work for Target. I don't work for Walmart. Why do I have to check myself out?
know.
I understand if you have a handful of things and you don't want to wait in line, self-checkout is perfect. But you have people like with a grocery full of, a cart full of groceries,
Fruits and vegetables.
and they only have one register
true.
open. I'm just like,
Yeah.
that is
Especially
so ridiculous.
Walmart, they have so many aisles to check. Like
they're-
that's what they advertise. We have all these aisles to check people out, but you don't have anybody working on them.
They're
Yeah.
all closed. Yeah.
They're all closed.
That is so true. I wonder why they have so many checkout registers if they don't even want to have people
Every
checking
Target,
out.
I don't go to Walmart anymore. Every Target in the front of the store, from
Walmart does too.
From door to door, they'll have registers, 20 registers.
Same thing with
Why?
Walmart.
And there's only one employee.
There's one.
And I think with
employee.
Walmart, they actually have two huge self-checkout areas. And now Kroger does too. They have two huge areas.
They would have
I think
associates.
maybe it's everywhere now.
Yeah, they'll have associates that are running these registers, these self-checkout registers, and be like, oh, you didn't ring that out. Bitch, I don't work here. I don't know how this shit works. Help me.
Oh my God.
Damn.
So speaking of Target and register, and totally off subject, and we'll go right back to it. But I've been watching these videos of people stealing from Target and
Wow.
Walmart. Girl, and I'm
Anytime
telling you,
there's a
when they
self-checkout.
start running these people down, these people will be running, and I'd be like, oh girl, you are
That's it.
not finna get away. What are you
well,
thinking?
actually,
And they're like, that was a bad idea. That was a bad idea. And this woman was like, oh my God, I need to figure out what I'm gonna do with my dog. Am I gonna go to jail? They were like, ma'am, we've been watching you for a while. You've been doing this for a while. I'm like, I don't understand why people sit there and think they can steal from these types of stores. And I'm like, especially so much.
So
I'm
you're
like,
gonna get away with it.
baby, they're not gonna let you keep stealing from them. But anyways, back to Gen Z. So what are your thoughts on the working part of it, Michael?
I think, I've worked with plenty of Gen Zers, and I try not to judge, because I don't want to be that person that's like, oh,
Yeah.
the youth behind me, or the young people behind me, or
mean,
I've
try
heard
not
that
to,
about people
but-
did that with us, with millennials, and they would say things like, oh, millennials are this or that. So I didn't want to be that person.
Okay.
However,
Fair
that
enough.
being said, I've noticed working with them and also socializing with them outside in public, there's somewhat of a disconnect with, maybe it's just the types of people that I'm associating with, but it's like they're not as emotionally intelligent as I thought they could be. It very likely could be just the people that I'm talking about. But I'm talking about
Okay.
several people,
Fair.
not just one person. But there's you okay? And it's like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm just going through a lot. And they're like, what? And it's like, I'm going through a lot.
Just none of your business.
It's just like there's I don't want to say they're robotic.
I think they talk more about their feelings. That's another part of Gen Z
Okay.
that I was gonna bring up. Is that
Listen.
I do feel like they're way more in tune with their emotions
Okay.
than we ever were growing up. I think nowadays millennials, our generation, we're doing better about recognizing our
Yes.
feelings, our thoughts, our emotions, seeing how expressing them, seeing how this situation could have affected that situation, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I do think with Gen Z, they're very much in tune with that, and they're more so, we'll talk about it. Like, you have to talk about it to get it
About
out.
every little thing.
About every little thing. And I think that's even how our school systems are starting to be like, and they're, for me, adopting more of that Gen Alpha, Gen Z mentality, which is don't make anybody feel bad. Don't make anybody feel like they're not quote unquote good enough.
Participation trophies.
They do it. The participation trophies are crazy.
crazy.
These days.
But yeah, I mean, that
Crazy.
started with millennials, though.
And
it did?
Barely, like right on the edge, because they weren't giving that out with us.
Yeah, I never got a participation
I didn't
trophy.
either.
Yeah, towards the end, it started with millennial.
So again, towards the end, now you're talking
millennial.
about towards like 96. I was
Yeah, at that point.
I was probably like in middle school. But even then, no, I don't think they weren't giving participation trophies then.
Oh, I never.
I mean,
got
you
one.
weren't in school, so what school were you getting those
Girl,
at?
I didn't graduate till 01, so please don't age me that.
I'm just saying, but
I didn't graduate, but yeah,
4
no.
years later, Jillian.
So I put participation trophies.
Were you getting participation trophies in high school?
In high school, no one does that.
They do now. They do. Yeah.
I mean, I understand for like
they do
for the younger
they
kids.
do in high school.
Okay,
Thanks
I don't
for
know about-
participating.
I don't think that's real.
Thank you,
but
There
Timmy.
you go. They also want failed children.
Yeah.
If you,
Oh,
they won't even fail you.
That is,
okay. That's a Michael topic.
That's just strictly, but we all know it's because of No Child Left Behind because of George Bush.
Well, no, they were failing us back then.
Yeah, they were failing
They
us
were
back then.
failing us back then.
But it was because of George Bush's No Child Left Behind.
No.
That policy is why they do not fail children. They pass them on no matter what.
No, it was an add-on to the policy. It was not something that Bush had in place when that policy passed. No.
No Child Left Behind. That was the whole point.
The whole point was for other programs for them to get additional help
Services.
services to
Yeah.
pass. Not hey, you got a grade of 45. We're gonna go ahead and pass you anyways.
Yeah,
that was not happening. That
Yeah,
was not
that's-
happening. No, it was not.
Yeah, it was. That's the
I
whole
literally had
point.
somebody that didn't graduate at our high school graduation because he failed.
Yeah, they'll pass them on. I mean,
Now they
Even-
pass them. They're
even-
gonna give you a diploma regardless.
No, that's not
Yes.
true because I did have
Michael. Okay, let's let Michael talk.
So
'cause
they
Michael
can
actually
graduate and
knows.
get their high school diploma even though they failed all their classes.
Is that a question?
Yes.
Yes,
Thank you.
it's true. I know it's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank
so
you.
as a teacher, a former teacher,
Because he couldn't.
I couldn't stand it.
What? I'm sorry. Please clarify. What grade did you teach?
I taught seventh grade English, ILA, Integrated Language Arts. So we were not allowed, even if a student, you're going to think I'm kidding, audience, not making this up, I swear on hand of a Bible. If they did not do an assignment, let's say it was due on Tuesday, okay? They didn't do it. Why didn't you do it? Oh, I forgot. Okay, I need it tomorrow. Like, have to have it tomorrow. Oh, okay, sure, you got it tomorrow. Oh, I didn't feel like doing it. Quote unquote, I didn't feel like doing it. It's like, okay, so I don't care how you feel. You need to turn this in. Like, this is
Right.
part of your grade. They give students over 2.5 weeks. We're talking 3 weeks later. They don't do late work. You can't give them a late because you know why? It lowers morale. And this is Frisco ISD.
Okay, so I've heard now that they're for this. So I guess Gen Alpha that they're trying to switch to no homework.
Well,
Well, let's finish the topic we were talking about, which is the failing.
yeah.
Okay.
So one thing I will say about that is we were not allowed to fail the student. Even, I'm not kidding, a student could make a 36 on a test, a 22 on a paper, all these bad grades. That's
crazy.
But we had to pass them. We had to pass
Well, how
them.
is that good for our school system to
It's
pass
not.
somebody that does not,
not qualified,
understand
the
what they
fundamentals.
learned that year? And how do you, and then eventually it's going to get harder and harder for them because you're just adding on top. Because now what you learned in 4th grade needs to be used to do the homework in 5th grade because
And
you'd have to
that's
have that
just it.
foundation.
Okay.
Janice, that's just it. Because if you're just setting them up for failure.
Especially at that age, like I think like
Yes.
5th, 6th, 7th, 8th grade, around that time
Yeah.
is where they're really giving you like it's like a stepping stone. Like you
Right.
have to learn the stuff in 7th grade to understand the stuff going on in 8th grade.
100%.
I understand that. So how does that work with? Because I know when it comes to testing, we had TOS.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Now it's
Step
called STAR.
Yeah.
Okay, so if they fail STAR, how does that work? Because I know you. I think 5th grade, 8th grade, and 10th grade, you had to pass to be able to advance on to the next grade level. I could be having those grades wrong, but how does that work with
So
STAR?
you have to go in the summer and take summer school and basically retake the STAR in the summer.
Oh, okay.
You are not forbidden. You are not. You still go on to the next grade.
Okay.
Here's the thing.
If they fail it in the summer, they still go on to the next level.
Yes,
Okay.
but they take it.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
They probably keep giving it to them till they pass it. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay,
And it's
I'm not a teacher. I don't have any children, so
Right,
I don't
no.
know how the whole...
Even ACT and SAT, I think they took that away, or
they got
or
rid
made
of GRE. If you go to grad school, you don't have to have
like
a
you don't have to
GRE
have
anymore.
that. And I think something with the ACT and SAT, like the scoring system is much lower.
Is it?
And like you could, it's
See,
just like they keep reducing like education levels to like match people.
And
I'm like, that's not cool.
But I think also with SAT and ACT, what they were saying, because a lot of colleges were depending on those scores, but with the SAT and ACT, depending on your economic background, if you can take it 10 times and take your highest score versus somebody who maybe it's a one and done because that's all I can afford, it's not truly showing you what the child is able to do academically. Because if you're able to get tutoring, is specifically how to hack or to best pass the ACT and SAT versus someone who doesn't have that and they literally have to know all the information. That's a big difference.
Well, I will say my SAT scores were not great, but my grades were good, so that's why I was
you
able
always
to
make
get
good grades.
Yeah.
But my scores with the ACT and SAT, they were not great.
It doesn't represent. It's
but
not
it
representative.
doesn't represent you as a good or a bad student.
Right,
Like
but
I said,
but I feel like
there's
I got into good schools, even
Yeah.
with the low scores.
Even
No,
to
I'm
grade
just saying,
school,
but
yeah.
there's some students who maybe aren't good students who just whose parents could afford tutoring and afford to pay to have that person take that class multiple times. And you're looking at this number, oh, they must be really smart. There's a great, and when they get in there, they struggle because
But I feel like
there's
once they get to
test-taking
college,
versus like when I feel with college, you're trying to apply what you've learned and apply it real world.
but I feel like college again weeds those people out unless you're going to continue paying the
Yes,
universities.
that's exactly
But
it.
college will weed you out. You
Yeah.
can't
Yeah.
go to college and half-ass it. I learned
Yeah.
that pretty quickly because I was a student that didn't have to do a lot of studying and things like that.
And then you learned.
College taught me, oh no, you gonna have to study today.
You're gonna read this book.
You're gonna read today. So I think. Yes, unless your parents are going to continuously pay for your education and pay for you to do well, which I think at the end of the day, if you're going to pay for your kid, like at the end, they're going to have money either way.
Yeah.
They're going to have money either way. Let's be real. You're just in people's way. You're in the way of other people getting maybe access to those schools. So that kind of sucks. But yeah, with ACT, and I get it, like, it's the same thing if like you give your kid a tutor and you tutor them every day and every day they have somebody doing their homework you can't stop that kind of stuff.
But I think also when it comes to the testing and passing kids, I don't blame the children. You have to blame the adults. So
of
that's,
course, yeah.
Of course you blame the
boomers,
adults.
Gen
Yeah.
Xers, millennials, the adults and the parents. They're the
Sure,
ones to
I do blame the parents, but I think that the results of what they're doing is creating a lot of, and maybe this is Gen Alpha. Right?
Yeah.
A lot of kids that are going to be people who think that they are entitled to certain things.
Yeah, 1,000%.
And they're not going to be, and the real world's going to slap them in the face.
Absolutely. I think when it comes to real world, and I will give that because you have your helicopter parents who
Sure.
don't want their children to experience any kind of failure.
Sure.
That's not how the real life works because
No.
you experience failures and
It's a learning
I've
opportunity.
And then you're talking about your self-esteem, like, because a big reason why they don't want to fail these children is because it
lowers morale.
It lowers morale and lowers your self-esteem. But I'm like, well, then it should be lowered because you're not trying.
achieving.
You're
Yeah.
not achieving. You're not, because yes, we all remember as growing up, me and Michael for sure, like where there would be kids that had to go to extra classes,
Yeah.
and do extra things to get to that
Yes.
same level that maybe I was at
Yeah.
with doing less. But
Yeah.
that's what they would do. And to me, that's what No Kid Left Behind was, because it was around that time when they had all those additional programs for students that were struggling.
Right.
I think No Child Left Behind
Not
also,
that they could not be failed. They were being failed.
I think with No Child Left Behind, that teachers were forced to teach to the test instead of actually trying to make sure that the children are actually
Good
learning
point.
and retraining.
That's a good point.
How
Yeah.
many school hours or teaching time is being set aside specifically to pass this particular test?
A lot.
And I think that's a part of the problem too.
Yeah.
But like I said, I don't blame Gen Z or Gen Alpha for that
we did.
situation.
But we did.
Yeah.
They used to put a lot of time into making sure we passed the test
Yeah,
and the
and
talks.
I think
Yeah,
I think that's bad too. But when it comes to as far as the workforce,
I felt like our school system was good.
I had a good education.
I think our education during our time, I feel like education was solid.
like
Yeah.
I said, that's on a personal level, but I don't think overall education.
Sure.
We've definitely fallen behind other developed nations when it comes to education.
Agreed.
And also, I feel like when it comes to
also see like China. I think it was China. And those kids are like in school from like 12 to like 6 p.m. and they take a nap in the middle of the day. So they're very intense about their education. Very intense, like overly intense.
But I also think we are, like I said, we're teaching or educating towards a test. We're not creating well-rounded children as well, because I feel like the first thing when they're starting to cut budgets, it's the art. So the music and the art and 100%. The things like that makes you a well-rounded person. Not everybody, I know right now they are so focused on STEM.
Yes,
like I don't like science. I don't want to be an engineer. That's not where.
It's not my jam.
Exactly. And I feel like, I think also now.
I think that's them trying to catch up with the rest of the world. But at the same time, the rest of the world, like China, usually that's the one we're chasing behind.
Yes.
But China does put a lot of emphasis on like musical instruments and learning other,
Good point.
Yeah, they do put it like they usually do have other talents, and they put them in those kind of things. Okay, we're going to learn piano, and if you're not in piano, you're going to learn violin, and but they also say music is very, very much a benefit to learning math.
Right now is I guess they've turned STEM into STEAM now because they've added the arts. Cause just like you can
I didn't know that.
STEAM STEAM to add the arts back into
it
so they can refocus that.
Okay.
Good.
And so I feel like, because they're like, okay, when you go and you work for Google, that's great. The zeros and ones for the back end data.
Right.
But when I look at my phone,
coding,
the way they design the apps and the way it looks and how you as a consumer consume it, that's the arts. It's the graphic designers that are making it look pretty, so you're able to use it. So I think those jobs are just as important,
absolutely, Jillian,
as the back end, the software engineers, and whatever engineer doing the X's and
now you're talking about like
a
graphic engineer,
with like creativity,
designer, the creativity.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's how we get plays and movies and television shows. You have to have that, because I think as a society, it can't always be this one particular, and when it comes to, and I think also we focus not on blue collar workers as much as we should.
I agree.
And I feel like why those
when we value
those professions are just as important. Yeah. Because your plumbers and your mechanics,
you need those. Of course.
Those make our, because when we had our snowstorm and we had no power, those people working those lines, those are crucial to our society. So I think,
let's be real, like those people who work the line, they make a shit ton
they make good money.
They make a shit
a lot
ton
more
of
than
money.
a teacher made.
They make like 150,000. Like when they be climbing them lines, they pay them a lot of money to do that.
They have to. And then people are saying, "Oh my gosh, you should." And like I said, I like my blue collar.
And plumbers
office
make
job.
a lot of money too.
They do.
Yeah.
I have a friend that.
But
go ahead. Sorry, I'm sorry.
I'm just saying, I love my blue collar job because I feel like you can do that a lot longer. But when you're the plumber, the electrician, you working on those lines, it is. And when you're working on oil rigs and stuff like that, it is physically taxing.
Oh, sure.
And so you can't be doing that into your 60s because of just how much
That's
physically straining it is. So yeah, they make a lot of money, and rightfully so, and I feel they should, but that's not something that is sustaining into I'm 65 and hitting retirement age.
Right.
Can you imagine lugging around on an oil rig at 60? Mm-hmm. That's hard.
I think they do though, don't they?
They do, but it's not easy.
And I've dealt with people who've worked construction and have had serious injuries, and they're like, I work construction. If I blew out my back or my knee or whatever,
they can't work.
Mm-hmm. And they were talking about somebody in their 40s.
A lot of them don't speak English.
What do you do? And it was just like, I'm just like, I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
And the mortgages do.
Yeah.
It's not, but it's not as easy as you. Oh, just find something else. I'm just like, all I know is construction, and so
there's other ways to work in construction without being the one physically out there.
I think for a lot of people, that's their skill set, and yes, I mean, you definitely have to.
Maybe your skill set started on being in the field, but I would think at some point you would be working towards more in the field than just being in the field.
Yeah,
right.
And unfortunately, some people don't.
That's more of a you thing. That's not nobody's pigeonholing you. You're pigeonholing yourself.
Yeah, you definitely have to. Yeah, especially when you're
because I think that's like saying I don't want to be on like in sales. yes, eventually I started on the phones, but yeah, the idea is to work my way off the phones and
of course.
And work my way up.
Yeah.
Like, especially
CEO.
when you're getting to the 60-year-old, like by the time I'm in the 60s, I'm hoping I'm well off the field. Like, I've been doing this for 40 fucking years.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, at least, hopefully I'm managing a few folk.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I'm making a schedule.
Yeah.
Something.
We'll see what happens,
To
but-
where, like, they could find you something to do still, you know?
One of the things I've noticed, you know, because I was a new teacher when I was teaching, is that there are several teachers that had been teaching for 26, 28 years, and they're very set in their ways. And I had long, extensive talks with them. They're saying things are so different now, kids. And I know we've since kind of adjusted from Gen Z to Gen Alpha, but we'll go back to Gen Z in a second.
Yeah.
But with regard to Gen Alpha, the kids, I don't want to sound like an old curmudgeon that's like, kids these days, but kids these days,
yeah.
they've got the headphones in the ear and they cover it with their hair and they wear hoodies. They're glued to their cell phone.
Yeah.
You know how many times I had to tell students, please take your hoodie off? No. I'm going to ask you again.
And so they can just say no, too.
Yes.
And there's no
here's the thing. I don't care if you're wearing a hoodie. Like, it's not. We were actually forced to tell them to take their hoodies off because they were listening to music. So, like, whatever. Like, wear a hoodie. I don't want you to think it was me.
Don't wear a hoodie.
Don't wear a
You're
hoodie in
school.
class. You're in school.
You're in school.
You're better than me because you
Don't
know
wear
what I
hoodie.
would do? I get a cell phone blocker and just block that shit.
Can you do that at a school, though?
I would think I would. I would just like, because it's like a little cell phone jammer, and I would just block that shit. But that's just me.
Well, they weren't even allowed to at my school. They weren't allowed to have cell phones on campus. I mean, like in their backpack, but they can't take it out at all
really?
for any reason.
Okay.
My principal required that.
Okay.
But at the I did an internship at a high school, and you go in the hallway, and of course, you audience can't see what I'm doing, but you know, it's tick 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 on the phone. Like no one's engaging with anybody.
Okay,
There's
so-
no
Yeah, I agree with that.
Hold
Yeah,
on.
with the school systems, yeah.
right.
Here's the thing. When it comes
People are
to,
close to people
as far as the
online.
difference between millennial, Gen Z versus the previous generation, Gen X and boomers, I think millennials, even Gen Xers, we definitely, I think we're in that sweet spot where we had a time before cell phones.
Yeah.
We had a clear childhood before cell phones.
Yes.
And a time after. So
And a time after where we
Yeah.
had, because I don't think I owned a cell phone until after I got out of high school. So, and it wasn't the smartphone. The iPhone, the iPhone came out after I graduated high school. So it's different because I knew a time. I knew that, and I think everyone's addicted to their phone. It's not
I am,
just children.
for sure.
But if that's all, especially now, especially with Gen Z and Gen Alpha, they've been on these devices
Forever.
since they were babies.
which I think is a parent thing. Like the parents should
It's a
control
parent
that a little
thing,
bit more. 'Cause
but
it
also-
is. It can't
But
be good.
It's for and for them, even though they may not be talking to each other, they're connecting through their phones. They're still connecting with their friends through the phones. And I would say, you know, what's the difference between someone that used to be buried in the newspaper versus on the phone? There's no difference.
Well,
because
kids
there's a
didn't
change.
used to be buried in newspapers. Kids
they
didn't
would
used to
go-
be buried in anything but
Yeah.
playing
You're right.
and their toys.
True, but I think also
So, but now kids have access to those same things that you're talking about that people used to be buried in. They now have access to those same things that adults should be watching and looking at, not kids.
okay.
And another vindictive thing that these kids
So
did,
they're exposed to so much more.
right.
Yeah.
So quickly.
Yeah, I think they're growing up faster for sure.
They would take pictures they all have Chromebooks that they take home that are provided by the school. They would take pictures of me teaching and send them to each other. No, this is malicious. And send it to each other. Like, look how stupid he looks in this picture face, or look at the face he's making in this picture. Look at what he's doing there. Like,
Yeah,
they're
that is
bullies.
malicious, but I mean, I'm sure our generation did that kind of stuff too with teachers.
Really? I guess maybe I'm just thinking about.
Let's
Maybe
be
not.
honest.
We might not have been able to
Can you
take the
believe-
picture physically at the time, but I know all of us had our thing to say about our teachers. Like,
Yeah.
oh, they're so stupid. They told me to do this. I mean, kids are just mean.
Can you believe
Right.
Can you believe what she worked today?
I
Oh
think
my
the,
god.
The,
Yeah.
the fact that now we have to, us as adults have to we have to acknowledge that kind of behavior because it's in our face.
Right.
As opposed to as a kid, I think we're a little bit more afraid for our teacher to know we were talking about
Well, and that's
them.
just it.
They're not afraid.
And
I don't
you
know
have no
what it is.
fear.
I think it's, and I do think it's maybe it's the millennial parenting.
Maybe.
I don't know. You know, maybe it's something with us the way we parented our kids.
We were raised right.
Yeah, but maybe when we parented, we were a little too lenient. I don't know, because a lot of those kids, kids are only a product of their environment too. So it is our fault with the Gen Alphas especially, but
Gen Z and Gen Alpha.
Yeah, Gen Z too. But I will say I mean, just to kind of take it back, I do admire their ability just to know bullshit. They just don't take any bullshit. Not saying that half the bullshit they're talking about is actual bullshit, but one thing they do is they stand up for themselves.
Yeah.
They do not let shit slide.
Yeah.
They're not going to sit in an unhappy environment for too long. As opposed to like us, where we'll sit in an unhappy environment for years.
Yeah.
There was a trans student. She, I'm going to say, this is for a reason. He identifies as he, but it kept changing on a weekly basis. So
he changed it?
He changed it. So he would go by Oliver when he felt like it, and he'd go by Anna when she felt like it. So, it's very confusing for a lot of people because it's like, you keep flip-flopping.
Yeah.
And so if I accidentally said, like she'll present herself as she'll wear a dress, wear your makeup.
So it's Anna today.
It's Anna today. And by the way, these names I'm making up. I would never reveal the student. So I'm just making these names up.
Okay.
So
okay, good.
I would never, yeah. So, Anna versus,
Oliver,
or whatever I said. Yeah. So it's, she would get frustrated at the teacher if we'd say like, oh, hey, Oliver, can you do, we were respecting the name change, but it would slip. And she'd be like, my name is Anna. And it's like, I apologize. Anna, would you,
And was she that aggressive?
So aggressive. I mean, like, it's such a brat. I mean, and I'm in the LGBT community. I'm all for people. You can still be a brat
and be transgender. No. Let's be clear.
I just want to say, like, I endorse people wanting to be called what they, I'm for that. But they kept flip flopping, and
they have to be also sensitive to the change. So you have to like give people space to
understand where you're coming from. And I know you're confused.
Space to make a mistake.
Well, that's just
but
that's what it is. It's a mistake. I made a mistake.
I don't think that's something unique to
Gen
that
Z?
Particular child. I think there's full on adults who do the same thing.
That's true.
Yeah,
but I guess just very aggressive, very like.
And I would never be aggressive at that age.
Yeah. That's my point. Yeah,
but especially with adults.
Okay, so I think also when it comes to I guess I want to be more lenient with that generation.
That's fair.
Because as a millennial, we've been through so much, and on a deep down level, it changes your brain chemistry. I remember Columbine.
Yeah.
I remember September 11th.
Same.
I remember the 2008 crash. Those are big milestones. I think really do change your brain chemistry, because I can't imagine. I know the impact it had me as a high schooler, hearing about Columbine and seeing the horrific things that happened at Columbine. That was like the first, like, I'm not saying the first public shooting as far as it happening in a high school, and it had such a broad social
I didn't
impact.
Understand the impact at that time.
Well, I was in high school.
Right.
So for me, this happening at a high school and me being in high school, it definitely changed your brain chemistry. Now imagine Gen Z and Gen Alpha.
COVID.
They dealt with COVID, but even now with mass shootings at schools, it is something that is constant for them.
Yeah. All the time.
They deal. And like, I remember just dealing with that one school shooting as a sophomore in high school versus someone, you talk about Sandy Hook, Stony Douglas. Those kids in Sandy Hook are now graduating high school.
I know.
And just to think that how many mass shootings just at schools, we're not even talking about other places, just at schools, it changes your brain chemistry. You approach the world totally different. Stony Douglas in Florida, it changes you on a deep level. Because I know it changed me.
So are you saying these kids are affected by the school shootings, and that's why they act the way they're acting?
No, I'm not saying. I'm just saying it's a part of it. You're talking about it's another layer.
Because how much do you think that they are involved with knowing? Well, I mean, I guess now they have so much access to things. Because I'll be honest. Like, as far as like Columbine, yes, I knew it was a big deal. Yes, I knew it was sad, but I didn't understand the ramifications of guns in schools. Not like I do now as an adult.
okay, so like I said, you're 4 years younger than me. As
So
someone who was
how
in
did
Sky,
Columbine affect you?
it made you hypervigilant. And so that kid in the corner that you may have ignored and be like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, I guess that was definitely a new thing.
It changes
was like,
you.
You look at kids a
little different,
Yeah.
right?
Like you could be.
yeah.
Yes,
Are you okay?
I was just thinking that.
yeah. Like he be the
Yes.
kid.
Yeah,
Yes, yes.
because even now, because you think about what about those college graduates who entered the workforce doing '08 during the financial crash?
Yeah.
Do you think their
True.
career had totally different projection? They
True.
probably view their careers totally differently. They're a little bit
Oh,
behind.
please, we're worse. We were way worse.
What? What are you talking
As far as
about?
the job market, when we graduated college, we had the worst.
Janice, you were literally, the '08 crash happened in '08. You were only 3 years out of college. So, of course, it changes you, how you approach your career. Having to deal with
So
that.
why did I approach it differently than them?
Versus someone, and you're talking about
When
a generation.
I literally had a direct effect on my career.
And I'm saying that is, but when you're talking about, if you graduated in '08, you have on all these student loan debts, and they're like, well, we're not hiring. You've got people who were just maybe
I would say that was like right around 05.
few years of retiring, and they're just like, oh, you ain't got a job. You've had this job for 20 years.
Right.
And I think right now with, especially a lot of employers are complaining that a lot of Gen Z, they're not staying loyal, which good
Why
for
would
you.
I be loyal to you? Yeah, that's
For
the kind
a
of stuff
company-
that I actually admire about Gen Z.
Yeah,
Like
they're just
the
like-
loyal. Like you're not loyal to me. Why am I loyal to you?
Exactly.
You pay me a check. I work here. I'm contracted to work here. And when I stop working here, I stop working here.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, they're job hopping. So they maybe stay at a job 2-3 years and move on. Because honestly, because most jobs they don't.
They do say nowadays you're supposed to like every 3 years you're supposed to kind of make a move as far as a job because
really?
of the market. Like you're basically not going to get the same market value of what you actually do for what the market is going for.
Interesting, okay.
Because they're not going to give you a 10% increase. They're going to give you a 3% increase.
Yeah,
That's
and just
standard.
imagine that advice changed in 2 generations because you got boomers who sit in jobs 20, 30, 40.
But they also had pensions then. They don't even have pensions now.
exactly.
True.
And
They
we're
don't
just
have
saying
those.
things change.
So I was loyal to you because of those things.
And that's
those
what
are the
I'm-
things you should be loyal to. Things that are continuously benefit me, which is what a pension would do.
Social
continuously
Security.
benefit you.
Yes.
Social Security, which they wanna cut.
Again, now our generation is seeing that, hey,
This
our
probably won't
generation,
be here.
it won't be here, especially
Yeah.
Gen Z. So actually, it actually makes a lot more sense why Gen Zers are like, screw it, I'm trying to make money,
Yeah.
trying to invest as much as I can, travel, live. So, okay, I can...
So, and that's what I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Certain things, certain advices that maybe work for older generations, the world has changed. And I feel like what Gen Z and Gen Alpha, even us as millennials are doing is we're adjusting. Our behavior is adjusting and changing
I think we're adjusting. Millennials
to
are.
what
Yeah.
our reality is. And we're like, we can't keep doing it the way our parents did it because
Right.
the thing is that
It's not working.
education is
Time
more
has
expensive.
changed.
People are like,
Yeah.
oh, just save up some money and buy a house.
Well, houses were
How?
cheap
The
then.
thought of
How?
buying a house is
I
like
can't
so
even-
daunting.
I
Yeah.
can't even
And they're
fathom
like,
it.
well,
Like, it's like, and then even rent, like homeowners insurance
Yeah.
and like an air conditioner, like these kind of
know.
things can like buying
Break
a
you.
house and having like air conditioners that can put you in a bankruptcy these days.
Yeah.
Literally.
Like
And
that's
Mama,
how crazy it is.
and just to
Yeah.
think, Mom's like, well, when I was your age, I did X, Y, and Z, and I had
Totally
2 girls. I'm
different.
just like,
Yeah.
yeah, because
Mom
your
was also
salary.
paying for a 2-bedroom condo, $550 a month at that time. Nice apartment
wow.
in Richardson, condo,
Holy moly.
Yeah.
2 bedrooms, 2 baths.
I would kill for that.
Yeah.
And literally $550 is what she was paying.
Yeah. And the difference is that their salary stayed on track to be able, house prices have exploded, but our salary hasn't.
Right.
So I think when it, like I said, and that's
Which
why,
is what I'm hoping Kamala will help us with.
yeah.
Hello.
No, for sure.
So, and I think, so that's, I guess that's why I give more leniency to Gen Z and Gen Alpha is because they're just adjusting and trying to,
All of
it's
us are,
how
though.
it's how we're raised, and B, we're just adjusting to the life that is our reality. And
Yeah.
so our approach has to be different. What I did in high school is going to be different than what you did because, like I said, when I was in high school, if they had this technology when I was in high school, who says I wouldn't have been doing the same exact thing? It didn't exist when I was in high school.
No, so I don't think,
That's how
again,
you're raised.
yeah, I don't think it's their fault, but I think it affects them.
Yeah.
It affects them
absolutely.
in a negative way. In a negative way.
And that's the thing, Janice, is that a lot of them don't even know how to have a conversation.
Yeah,
like,
I agree with Michael in that. Like, their social skills are way down.
I'm not kidding when I say that they would enter a room. I'd be like, "Good morning, Ethan." And he would just completely ignore me. He wouldn't even look at me. And it's like,
yeah, like yes, the yes, ma'am, no,
yeah,
yes,
none
sir.
Of that. None of
That's
that.
gone.
It's gone.
Disrespect for
They
adults.
could just not acknowledge me as their professor. I'm professor.
I see these videos with kids beating up their teachers, like hitting them in
Yeah.
school. I'm like, damn.
I have
Back then, you're expelled. You're gone.
Oh, you're gone.
Not anymore.
There was a male teacher, who was called faggot multiple times by students. And
Oh my
the
God.
principal didn't do anything because the principal was basically like, well, it's Texas, basically, in a nutshell. And so the trans teacher
wow.
left within 3 weeks of school starting because he kept being called faggot. Unfortunately,
And what are you going to do to the kids? Yeah.
I mean, that's just, and
Put them in detention or something.
I mean, there needed to be some repercussions, but I'm telling you this
but
because
maybe if
that's
they
the
don't have
level
any
of-
repercussions,
that's what I'm
then
saying.
why would you stop?
And every time I try to fail a kid, I didn't. Excuse me. My teacher told me to reframe this. I didn't fail you. You earned
Every time
this.
I went to go put the grade in that they
you
earned.
Yeah, because I had students that were like, "Why did you fail me?" And I'm like, "Girl, I didn't fail you.
You failed.
You failed.
You earned that grade.
And another teacher would be like, "Oh, just bump it up to a 65 because if you give them a 55, they're not gonna want to try." And it's like, but they earned a 55. It's like, right, but just give them a 65 because it's gonna make. And I'm like, what lesson
Let
is
those
that
kids
teaching
fail.
them?
Like,
Let
to be
those
fair, let those kids fail. Because some kids fail.
And Jillian, some students did
kids
not
fail.
do the assignments at all. They never turned them in. And I had to give them a 65 when they didn't even do the work.
Isn't that still considered failing?
No, that's
not
a D.
anymore. It's a D. It's not fail.
What?
Yeah.
Well, you know
It's
what,
a
to be
D.
fair, like, I think Frisco ISD was one of the only, like, the school districts that didn't acknowledge D's.
Yeah, so it's not failing.
Oh yeah, I thought anything below a 70, that's a fail.
No.
Not anymore.
There's D's. There's a whole D category. Where
Yeah.
did you think D's were?
I thought that was just a college thing.
No, it's passing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think it is a college thing, but I didn't know of any other school besides Frisco ISD that didn't count D's. Because I had other friends that would be like, I got a D. I'm like, D?
What the hell's
Yeah.
a D?
Didn't know they had those. I thought it was
Yeah.
was
A,
it
B,
F?
C, or
It
F?
went A, B, C, F.
Yeah.
Fail.
Yeah.
Yeah, nowadays, no.
And I had I keep saying professors, I'm sorry. I had other teachers that would tell me horror stories about Johnny who would, like, he would say, "Johnny, please put your legs off the desk." Why? Because
And the
this
kids
isn't
would
your
talk
house.
back to
They
you,
talk
see?
back to you.
That's not gonna be no
saying that-
teacher.
I'm not saying that this didn't exist before.
I
I'm
would
not
want to
saying
reach
that.
out and touch one of them kids. And I
I'm
couldn't.
just saying that it's
Like, slap them.
so
Not
much
that.
worse now than it ever was before with these kids. I'm not saying it never wasn't bad when we were. I mean, we all had trouble outliers.
We all had that, like, the one, the few, like, I remember, like, there were certain kids that you knew, like, they were the troublemaking kids.
But now it's all
But
of
now
them,
it's
even
like,
the good ones.
It seems like it's all of them have, like, some type of attitude.
The good ones are now impressionable. I remember certain good ones. We'll call him AJ. It's a made up name. AJ was like probably my favorite student. They say don't have favorites, but he was my favorite. And then he was manipulated by the cool kids. And then he started being like, he called me bro, and I'm like, I'm
Bro.
not. You're,
Not your bro.
I'm not
I'm your teacher.
Like, show
Hey,
some
no,
respect.
I'm your teacher.
And then he would give me attitude, be like, Mr. S, this is lame. And I'm like, didn't ask for your opinion. So shut the fuck up.
That's what you want to say, right?
Yeah.
You want to get just as grimy as these kids.
You
Like,
gonna get dirty with me?
Just like when you're trying to go all gutter with me, let me go gutter with you. Let me
Shoot.
see who
I
does
am
it
a
better.
37-year-old gay male. I will
can-
read you to filth.
I'll do it, and you will
Happily.
you will run out of here crying.
Honestly, Michael, I think if you did, they'd probably earn your respect.
I think so.
You'd be like, damn. It's
Damn,
kind of like
he's a savage.
It's kind of like what was it, Sister Act 2, or like Lean on Me. The teacher that comes in is like, I'm gonna hold you accountable, and the students end up loving it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Lean on Me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lean on Me.
I
Well,
just-
same thing on Sister Act.
Yeah, where they roasted her for quite a bit.
Yeah.
She's just like,
They glued her butt to the chair. That was funny.
I started the year off like, I'm a cool. I'm
I'm a cool teacher. I'm not
cool
like a
teacher.
regular
I'm not like
teacher.
a regular teacher in the sense that I'm young. Some of the teachers are, like older. They're
Yeah.
like in their 60s and their late 50s.
This is
So
why
I
I
was
was taught like
I
nice
was-
and young.
right.
I would have taught young.
Yeah.
Don't have to deal with no lip.
Right. And that's just it.
Because middle school, I feel like that is vicious.
It is so vicious.
I would never teach middle school.
And
like middle schoolers have an attitude.
They have such an attitude, and they're so impressionable, and they literally.
And it's such an awkward time
it's
for
such
them.
an awkward time for them. They're so vulnerable, and I can't tell you how many times I would, in a polite way, say, "James, please stop what you're doing." Okay.
That's
3
your
seconds later,
James.
I just asked you, please stop what you're doing.
See,
Put your-
You can't do that gentle teaching. You got to do that. They say that gentle parenting doesn't work. You got to yell.
Oh, I yelled. I yelled a lot. In third and fourth period, they were my worst class. It's the same class. It's an hour and a half of the same kids. It's called blocked. So it's the same kids for 90 minutes.
Oh, they had lunch in the middle.
And that was your worst
They didn't
class?
have lunch
That
in the
would
middle.
be.
Third
Your
and
worst
fourth
class would be the longest.
I had 28 students. That might not seem like a lot. That's a lot.
That's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot.
And 25 of them were brats.
Oh,
And
Man, when I would have put foot to ass like
Oh,
big
I'm telling
time.
you.
Oh my god.
I tried
I
to.
watched those little videos with the like teachers and some teachers that go ham with toe to toe with them students. Those make me laugh.
But I kept being told, if you go to their level, you're losing. Like, don't.
we're gonna be both losers because ain't no way
we gonna lose together.
we
Charlie.
losing together. Let's do this together,
Charlie, I want you to know I'm in these trenches with you, and I'm gonna be a loser with you.
Oh, you think
And
you
then Charlie
cool?
gonna be like,
Okay.
I'm a loser.
Yeah, I would
Start
find.
crying. Yeah, you're a loser. You didn't know that?
You a punk?
The
Yeah.
hell?
I would find
Your
one
mama
flaw.
didn't tell you a loser. I'm gonna tell you. You're
Yeah,
a loser.
Yeah. I'm like, watch that tone with your 64 in this class.
Okay.
You better pay attention.
I'm like, that's exactly why. Okay, you're gonna be in my class next year. I'm gonna make a petition. You'll be like, you're gonna fail. I'm gonna try my damnedest.
Yeah. But yeah, I think
Yeah, I'd be a horrible teacher.
We'll get back to Gen Z, but I think I do have hope for Gen Z
That's
because I
good.
feel like they're more politically engaged for sure.
They are 100%.
At a much younger ages than even I was.
Yeah, I think with the school shootings and stuff, that's what
Yes.
really brought them.
Like David
out.
Hogue.
Yeah, they're definitely more politically engaged, and I think for them, when it comes to any generation, whether it was us, it was Gen X, we all had to find our own way to deal with things. Because like I said, society is changing, and things that were okay before, those are things that just simply don't apply to our lives now because of how things have changed. And I think we're all just adjusting. So people say, oh, they're hopeless. And people said the same thing about millennials.
Yeah.
People said the same thing about Gen X.
It's true.
I say, I don't think we're hopeless. We're just trying to figure things out and do things in our own way.
That's true.
The
I feel like
society won't fall apart.
Right.
You know, it's one of those things which, unfortunately, with Gen Z, especially when it comes with Michael, you're talking about education. What's going to happen is that they're going to graduate from high school, they're going to get into the real world, and they're going to sink or swim. And the ones that are truly elite will swim to the top and learn and
Succeed.
figure
Very
things out
elite,
and succeed.
very elite.
And the ones who don't, they'll sink to the bottom. And unfortunately, they'll have to figure it out.
So then that's
Yeah.
not like they have to figure it out. So do we want people to figure out in school, or do we want people to figure out in
just
the
it.
world? Because what
Teach
kind
them
of
while they're
people are
young.
you going to really they're gonna sink, and then you know what people do when they sink, they start to do crime.
Yeah.
They start
Yes.
to find
No, I
desperate
feel-
ways to make money.
They hurt themselves.
They
totally
hurt
understand that,
themselves.
but if-
You're creating.
Problems.
Exactly.
Problems.
No, I totally understand that, and yes, that's
And it's
100%
not Gen
true.
Z's problem. I think it's the way we're approaching it.
Yes.
With dealing with Gen Z or not, and I'm saying Gen Z, but I'm thinking about 10 years ago when we were
Right.
this was all happening,
Yeah.
right? Because Gen Z's already developed. Gen Z's here. Gen Z's in the workforce. Gen Z is a voice in this country.
Yeah.
Right. So, and that's why I say for me, I'm not saying Gen Z was bad, but I feel like if we keep going in this same trajectory, it's just going to keep getting worse and worse. Right. Because I feel like what Gen Z was, I mean, even what millennials were to Gen Z to Gen Alpha, what's the next generation going to be? Now we're going to be like, just forget school. Honey, here's an A.
Yeah.
You can come when you feel like it. No truancy here.
Yeah.
Come on. Come if you want to. Like, I'm like, where are we really going with this?
I mean, especially now, I think even with Gen Z, older Gen Z, I think they're starting to graduate college even. if
Oh,
I'm
so
not
let's
mistaken.
talk really quick. So Gen Z is, so basically Gen Alpha is anything 2013 and above, right? So if they were born in 2013 or above, they're considered Gen Alpha. Gen Z is 97 to 2012. Millennials are 81 to 96. Gen X is 65 to 80. And then boomers the second boomers are 55 to 64. Just so y'all know the years. So when we're talking about Gen Z, we're talking about somebody...
College graduate.
College
They're just
graduate.
now entering the workforce.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm thinking if you're born on even... Gosh, no, they're like 27. Some of them are 27.
Grad
so,
school.
like, you're working.
So
you're
millennials...
late 20s.
No, the younger millennials, they're now...
Younger millennials...
They're running... They're...
96.
It's 20...
That'd be 96. So, like, about 96. So, they're like 10 years younger than me.
2024. So, that means that I'm 40. I'll be 41 this year. So, millennials, I guess I would be considered an older millennial. In the 2020s, those millennials are going into their 40s, where Gen Z, they're going into their 30s. So yeah, these aren't kids anymore.
That's what I'm saying. With Gen Z, these are not children. Like, even when I talk to like our nieces or our younger cousins, they're like Gen Alpha.
No, I think they're considered. Kiara is definitely considered.
Oh, Kiara is Gen Alpha.
Gen Z.
Gen Z. Sorry, Gen Z.
Mm-hmm.
Gen Z.
And I think even Kylie, she's
When was she born?
on the. Remember, she's exactly 25 years younger than me.
Okay, well, she was born later than...
She's turning 16, so what is that?
She's like 2015. No, she
Girl,
has to be younger than that.
2023.
Was I in college? She was born when I was in college.
So isn't that Gen Alpha?
So she's Gen Z. No,
Yeah, she was born in 2018.
Oh, 2018, so she's Gen Alpha.
Barely.
I mean, that's 5 years. That's 6 years.
When did we say John?
2012 is the end of Gen
2013 on.
Oh, okay.
2013. So she's well into it.
that.
My students were born in 2013.
So she's 20, she's a Gen Alpha, and then Kiara is 10 years younger than me. So Kiara is was born in 97. Oh yeah, so she's a Gen Z.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I still have hope.
Or 98.
Like I said, I still have hope.
No, that's
There's
good.
plenty
That's
of
good that
really
you have hope.
smart, and they're gonna. I feel like because of technology, they're absorbing information at a faster rate than we did.
It's true.
You know, if they're allowed to, I feel like if they're given the work and allowed to flourish, and sometimes they'll fail and sometimes they will rise to the occasion. I think parents, teachers, adults, or older generation just need to allow them to just
like
live and
going
just
out.
succeed and fail and just, yeah, sometimes they will fail, but I feel like Gen Z and Gen Alpha, I think they would get up quicker. Even if they fail, they'll get up quicker and try again. I feel like sometimes with them, they're like, oh, okay, well, I'll just try something else. I think they're more freeing in that sense. And
More resilient.
I absolutely feel like they're more, they've had to be. It's kind of,
I feel like millennials had it way worse.
Actually, honestly, when it comes to Gen Xers, first of all, we usually forget about them.
Maybe not worse.
Them Gen Xers were latchkey kids. They were coming home to an empty house.
That's
So
true.
we were latchkey kids.
We went to daycare, girl. Like
And
they'll
then-
be in elementary school
no.
going home to an empty house.
I mean, towards the end, but I was definitely. What are you talking about?
You went to an empty house?
You?
I was in high school.
Okay, but I wasn't.
Okay.
wasn't.
I'm just saying, but like these Gen Xers, they literally like be in elementary school and come home.
And
to an
then
empty
when we were
house.
in Richardson, there was just us there.
We went to daycare, girl, until I was in middle school. And you still went to daycare.
And nowadays, middle school that is not a thing. Home Alone? What?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, they fine.
Yeah. They won't burn down the
alright.
house.
When I
They're
first
all right.
got into teaching, I thought middle school would be a good, like, impressionable age because I thought, well, they're still, because high schoolers are so over it. They're like, you're lame. This is stupid. Get out. Like,
That's middle school.
but when I got to
That
middle
is middle school. That's I
You're
was
lame.
shocked
Thought
when
they
you
were-
did middle school. I was
I
shocked.
thought
Like,
my logic was, I was trying to teach high school, but I got a job teaching middle school, and then I talked myself into this idea that
I'm more impactful.
Yeah, like you can make more of a difference because you're young enough. You can still make a difference.
You think it would have been different if maybe
Yeah.
if you taught honors or AP history English?
Here's the thing. I hate to say this. This sounds so awful, but my smart students, I guess that's not that bad, were so easy. I loved them. Like my Indian students, my Chinese students, Asian, like
They were just so...
they were so respectful. They called me sir.
Well, I think that's
It's
a
because
cultural
of how
thing.
they're raised. It's cultural.
Yes, it is cultural.
It's 100% cultural.
But that's my whole... So that almost like adds to my point.
Yeah.
These Gen Alphas, Gen Zers, they just don't have a lot of respect. They're not taught those things. They just do whatever they want.
But those kids,
these things don't matter.
Those kids.
But when the smart students are doing it and they're at home, they're being taught, hey,
respect your teacher.
Your grades are important. I am going to have a problem if you come home with the C.
No.
I am going to think that
I think that's
need
cultural.
to be disciplined.
Because I think that's cultural. Because I think what happens is, especially, I feel like I have a feeling with those these smart students
it is
that of cultural, also children of immigrants.
But why do you think they're smarter, Jillian?
It's not that you're smarter. It's
why do you think they're doing better in school?
And I think
why do you think they're doing better in school? That's my question to you.
When it comes to cultural, I think especially when you're a child of immigrants,
so you're teaching your kids that education is important. It is important. Education is important, and it's not something to just be like whatever about, which is what I think a lot of the school system is like that.
Yeah.
They're like, whatever. We don't need to fail any kids. We don't need to concentrate on tax. Let's just pass them. Let's just move them on. That's what's happening. So when you're saying cultural and you keep trying to cut me off, I'm saying that's my point. I'm saying they're teaching them that that's important at home, and they're not doing that with the other kids. And the school is certainly not doing it anymore either, which they used to do. That's my point. Thank you. Go ahead, Joe.
Okay, thank you. So I think when it comes to, especially when you're the children of immigrants, there's an added pressure where failure isn't an option, because a lot of times when you're the children of immigrants, your parents let you know, I had to give up a lot to even get here.
Right.
So failure isn't an option, which can have its own deficits as well, because having that much pressure on you,
it's a lot.
It's a lot. And you can, so many times what happens is a lot of those students who are obsessed or in the books and don't do anything else, what do? They go to college, they have a little bit of independence, and they flip out.
Yep, that's true.
So
that's not true. I didn't flip out.
Well, a lot of them do.
Janice.
I did it.
Janice.
Was mommy not super strict and made me stay at home and read my read? What?
Janice.
What?
You remember your freshman, sophomore? What happened at Baylor?
I graduated college, Jillian.
Okay. I'm just saying, but you had your period.
I didn't freak out. I didn't go out there and just do everything. What do you mean by freak out?
Janice.
Failing classes is not the same thing as freaking out.
Janice.
Because there are plenty of smart students that go to school that didn't have that same pressure that fail college, because college is different than high school.
Janice.
It's different. Are you going off of my experience, or are you telling me what I experienced?
I'm just saying, when they have that little bit of freedom.
I'm telling you what I experienced.
And they don't focus 100% on schoolwork, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can have a social life. Sometimes it's hard to have that balance because they haven't learned it before. So I'm just saying that can be a deficit as well. I'm not saying it's 100% right. That's how you need to have a child who can have the time where this is my time for school, this is my time to focus on that, but then also have a social life and be able to focus on being socially interacting with their peers.
Okay, but college is what that's for. You learn that stuff in college. That's what I learned. Hold on. Okay, you're upset that I'm cutting. I'm just trying to finish the statement in the sense that I get that as far as me, mom was very strict about school. She was. Yes. And I needed that time in college to understand, okay, things are not going to come as easy to me as they did in high school, which I thought they were going to. Let's be clear. Also, mommy used to, she used to be the one that told me I have to get up, go to school, go to class. It wasn't an option to skip class. I don't think that's just something you learn in college. I failed not because of any other reason, but I missed too many classes. That's the only reason I failed. Okay. So I didn't flip out in college. So let's be clear.
When I said that, Janice, you had your stumbling blocks in college.
Yes,
did you not?
Stumble,
okay,
yes.
So that's what I'm saying.
But what college is designed to do. Like, kids are going to stumble in college. It's different.
And what I'm trying to explain, if you let me finish, is that sometimes whether it's the parents who don't care and let their students do whatever they want versus the super strict, there are deficits in both areas. You have to, that's something that you should not be learning how to do in college. As a high school student, one thing my mother never
Learning how to do what?
To manage your own time and be able to balance your social life and school at the same time. That's something that should not be all of a sudden learned when you're on your own in college.
I think that's
What I'm saying is that as parents or teachers, that's something that should be learned throughout your
12
schooling,
years.
12 years. So what I'm saying is that when you're in high school, I know for a fact, because my mother left for work before I had to leave for school, I had to get myself up and get ready, shower, whatever I needed to do to get on the bus on time. My mother wasn't, hey, Jillian, wake up. Time to go to school.
So a very different experience, because it was the same thing for me.
But I
had a problem when I went up to college, because you never went off, so you never had to learn how to do that.
Here's the difference. I knew that was going to be a problem for you, because you, Janice,
you never had to do it, Jillian.
So what I'm saying is,
you never
that
had to learn
Janice, who whenever either myself or my mom was home, I think you did that shit on purpose, where all of a sudden you didn't know how to catch a bus.
Maybe.
Janice, I missed the bus. Maybe. Can you take me to school?
Maybe.
And then this girl be like, oh, so when I'm late for school, mind you, she slept in purposely because she knew she had a ride in case she missed the bus. Oh, you're driving Miss Daisy when I'm late, but when you're late, you're too fast.
She is spiteful.
Too fast, too fierce. I'm like, oh, okay. So that means that next time, wake up on time and catch the bus like you're supposed to, instead of having to beg me for a ride when I want to sleep in. So let's just be honest. That was something that was happening in high school. So for you not getting up and not going to class, was I surprised? No, I was not. Absolutely not. Especially now you have a car.
You didn't stop going to classes, Jillian, when you started school? No?
No, when in high school,
College. You didn't stop going?
Yes, I stopped going because it wasn't for me.
Okay. So I'm telling you,
me.
the same exact thing can happen for somebody as well.
What I'm saying
somebody like you
what I'm saying is that
I didn't waste money either when I did it.
There definitely needs to be
a lot.
There definitely needs to be a balance, and I think that when it comes to, like I said, I'm not a parent, I'm not a teacher, so I'm not interacting with these kids. I'm just in the workforce, and there's plenty of kids that, like I said, Gen Z, I'm working with them now. So for me, I think when it comes to high school, and I've said that this is something that I wish, I said that if I had the opportunity or if I could find a way to do this, is that for me personally, working in banking, I feel like sometimes I think we do let our students down, and we're educating them to take a test and not really live life.
Right.
And for me, as someone who works in banking, I've always said my dream was always to have work for a bank, but also be able to go into schools. And I think they're starting to now trying to figure out how to get this into school programs where I teach them, hey, this is a financial literacy class.
That's great.
Where I teach them, hey, this is...
They taught us that. Remember Enterprise City?
I don't remember that.
But yeah, that's something that I feel like should be taught.
You don't remember Enterprise City? Oh, that was in Richardson.
That was in Richardson, Enterprise
City.
City.
But they basically have like in 4th grade, they have like a whole part of, I think, social studies or something, where it's like a whole section on financial literacy, and they talk
living
to you
in the real world.
Living in the real world, but they teach you how to balance a checkbook, write a check.
That's great.
You have jobs.
To balance it, to make sure you have enough to pay your bills.
Right.
Like they taught
Cash
you that.
a check,
and
buy
then
things,
the fun thing at the end of the course or at the end of that semester, you get to go to this place called Enterprise City, which is where you basically have a little job. You work your little shift, you make your little money, and then you can go buy stuff.
That's cool.
Yeah,
That's
and then so basically you're off. You have to go take a lunch. I'm on lunch break right now. I'm just gonna go do a little shopping, but I have to be back at this time to
continue my shift.
Yeah, continue my shift. It was even to this very day, that's a core memory for me.
Yeah.
Me too.
Like being at Enterprise City, because I think one of the things I bought was a picture with Whitney Houston, which is a cardboard cutout of Whitney Houston. And I still remember that photo.
That's
because I
cool.
spent my money on it.
Yeah.
you know?
She worked for
You
it.
earned
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
And so that's always been, since I've worked in banking, that's something I would love to
Training.
They could do that in like
to do
high school at a higher
and
level.
Yeah.
and like something simple as making them understand what it means to get a mortgage or credit cards or
I mean, kids don't even know what
balancing-
checks look like.
No,
these
they
well,
don't.
I don't.
Yeah.
When's the last time you wrote a check? Nobody does. I honestly, really honest, little old ladies that
Yeah.
write checks. Most people don't write checks anymore. Between
But
Zelle,
But you should know
an-
how.
But
You
it's
should
still
know.
an option. It's still a form of currency that people can use.
Which
and banks
honestly,
still give you.
I'm gonna be-
Because I mean, as much as you might not use a physical check, people still use virtual or electronic checks.
honestly,
that's
if
true.
it was up to banks, checks would be eliminated.
What do you mean?
Meaning we.
What about
would-
electronic checks?
That's electronic
It's
Oh, you're
ACH.
saying paper checks.
paper checks.
The physical paper.
The
checks.
actual physical checks. I think honestly, banks are truly trying to figure out how do we get rid of this shit? Because really, that's just an IOU, is a check.
Yeah.
That's the quickest way to get bank fraud is through those freaking
check.
paper checks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just
Which is
not saying
crazy.
that they're-
Crazy to me that some places that employ people still give out paper checks.
Yeah.
One thing I want to
So
say, last thing I want to say is when I was teaching, the same year I was teaching at, I almost said the name, the middle school, I was also at nighttime teaching at a private school. So I was, during the day I was at public school, at nighttime I was at private school,
Yes, work. Look at you.
3 days a week. It was very stressful.
At nighttime.
At nighttime. It was so it's a after school program for high achievers. So it's not for students who are falling behind, because some people were like, "Oh, you're a tutor." I'm like, "No, these are like the excellent
They're
students."
like they're putting you to your. Are they putting you through your paces type thing? Because they're so smart.
Well, no, actually, they were, and I'm not exaggerating.
They're just
when I
doing the
say
shit
this.
for extra credit.
They're doing it because their parents are making them get ahead. They want them to go to Harvard, Yale. So they're taking these hard
These
classes.
really intense students. Then
Yes, and I'm not kidding. I swear to God, 100% Indian. No white student. No, not even Asian. All Indian. So what does that
Really?
say? You know,
That
so
they
they were in
push-
school all day, and then from 6 to 8:30, sometimes 9, they took
That's
more
addiction.
school, and then they had to go to bed and wake up the next day
and go back to school.
and go back to school. And they had homework.
When are they gonna do homework?
And when are they going to be a kid?
Yeah.
Granted, they were there 3 days a week, so it wasn't every single day, but 3 days a week is a lot.
Yeah, it is.
And
That is a lot.
I will tell you, these were the most well-behaved students. I mean, they were very ambitious, and their parents would come to me. Again, these are immigrant parents, and they would come to me and say, like, I noticed that, Susie, is, except insert Indian name right there.
so the
So
parents were
crazy.
very involved.
Extraordinarily, to the point where it was annoying. Like, I noticed that, she got an A minus.
This is middle school?
This is middle school.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I know she got an A minus.
A minus, what can she do to improve? And I'm like, Susie's amazing. I think she's just a little tired. And,
So they just want A pluses.
they want A pluses. A minus wasn't good enough.
And
but
how
they
do you
were,
think that's going to work out for them in college?
Well, that's just it. I think, in my head, I like to see the good in people. I like to think that the parents were doing it because they thought it was setting them up for success, but they're just suffocating their kid.
They are, and I agree with that. But then I'm like, but these are probably the future doctors.
That's
of our
my
world.
point.
So, like engineers,
Lawyers,
and
yeah.
biologists, and things where you have to put a lot of effort and time to like be successful. So
Of
I
course.
don't know. Somebody has to do it. It ain't gonna be me.
Ain't gonna be me.
So I'm like,
My public
I'm
school ass.
kind of like, ugh, should it go ahead and happen? Go ahead, know.
Right. Yeah.
But our talk on Gen Z has been pretty extensive.
Yeah.
And I think it definitely jumped into a couple of other subcategories. Because I do think there's a lot when it comes to like the generations and the different like eras. There are like differences, but the funny thing is I feel like during this discussion we came to the same conclusion for like almost every
Yes.
generation.
I agree. Yeah.
So I think I guess we're just going about it different ways. I don't think there's anything wrong with going about it in different ways. So maybe I can just relax and let things happen the way they're going to happen, and we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a healthy
I think
mentality.
honestly it comes down to Gen Z, Gen Alpha, my mother did her job. I'm in the world. I'm doing what I need to do.
Right.
And I think same thing. I'm contributing. I think, are there certain deficits that every generation experiences because of how they were raised? Absolutely.
Of course, yeah.
And that's why I say I feel like once we're adults and we get to decide how we approach things. So I'm sure there's many millennials who have been through trauma and are now like, wait a minute, I don't want to pass this on to the next generation.
Right.
And hopefully it'll be a better thing. Like I said, we're all. I'm not gonna single out Gen Z when it comes to their addiction to their phone, because I'm addicted as well. Everyone's addicted to their phone. That's not something that's unique to them. Unfortunately,
I think it's just growing up with the phone from the time you're like a fetus.
Sure.
Exactly. Which we didn't. And like I said, it's not their fault. And I think that they're gathering and retaining information at a lot faster rate than we are. And sometimes I don't think they have the capacity to process. Just because they're getting the information, that doesn't mean they have the process to the ability to process what they're receiving.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So they'll figure it out. Like I said, I have great hopes for Gen Z and Gen Alpha.
Good.
They will figure it out. I feel like we all can't catastrophize the next, because boomers say it about Gen X and millennials. Boomers complain about us all the time. You guys don't know how to work. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Well, boomers had it right. I think that was like the best time, like when they were raising us. So.
But they'll act like circumstances are the same. They'll be like, "Wow, when I was your age,
they're not the same. They're not the same. They're not the same. I mean, they definitely, they just had a better, the American dream was like right after World War I, like the American dream was like all they wanted people to focus on, and they put a lot of money and time and effort into making the American dream happen.
Yeah, I think with boomers, the previous generation
not make America great again. That's what I'm talking about.
I think when it comes to the previous generation, so I guess silent generation, when it comes to the boomers, their parents set it up for them to be able to excel and give them the best position, put them in the best position to
they were
succeed.
coming out the Great Depression,
but
right?
I think they put things in place so that they make things easier for them because of what they suffered through the depression. But I think honestly, at the end of the day, what happens is that boomers, I think they close the door behind them and have not made things better for the subsequent generations.
I agree with you.
So I will say that.
Yeah.
When it comes to that. So I think we're all just trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Michael.
Just final thoughts. I just think that I love your optimism. I wish that I felt as optimistic as you. I really do.
Me too.
I just, having been a teacher, I was so gobsmacked at where they are now.
I think hearing your stories is what got me. I was like, oh shit.
I mean, when I say abuse, I'm not using that term lightly. Like I was online bullied. I was like, they would,
And then no consequences.
No consequences.
For speaking to your teacher like that.
I mean, I know everyone hates their teacher or like thinks they're lame, but like they took it to another level. They would, this
could have been a Lifetime movie.
Yeah.
Like
it was.
That's crazy though.
And I'm also a male. Imagine if I were a female, and I'm an older teacher in the sense that I'm not 23,
24 coming off, and they really can get to your psyche.
Right. So I mean, that my last point is that
it's scary out there.
It's scary out there. I have faith. I like to think that I have faith like you do in them, but I don't know. There's something really sad about Gen Z, excuse me, Gen Z and Gen Alpha, in the sense that they're so disconnected. And I go to restaurants and I see mother's father's son or daughter just texting during dinner, and I'm like,
it's really just the times that they are growing up in, and you're like, they don't have that same connection.
They're just so like disconnected from each other, and that's.
I think we are as a society, but I think when you're growing up in this society of disconnection, then there is no connection. I mean, now you're saying like the father and the mother are sitting at the same table doing the same thing,
right?
So
and they're another generation.
It happens to be the generation you're growing up in, and it's just sad that you're not going to have those same core memories that we do.
No, exactly.
Hopefully, some of these families do take the extra step to
change,
give their kids a childhood at least.
Yeah. So that's my final thoughts. Janice, what about you?
Yeah, I know. I think for me, it's just, again, I might be able to give them a little bit more grace, Gen Z and Gen Alpha, but from what I have seen, they're just not doing. They're doing less and complaining more. That's how I feel.
A lot of complaining.
Doing less, complaining more.
Yeah.
And I went through and I feel like I went through the same stuff, yet I just had to power through and woman up.
You've
Woman
never
up.
been a complainer.
Woman up. Life's hard. Like, get a helmet.
Yeah.
Like, life is tough. Life has been is going to be tough for it's been tough for every single generation. Every single generation on this paper went through something, right? Whether it be Great Depression, COVID, Columbine shootings.
Yeah.
And there's certain ones in the middle, Gen X and Gen Z and the millennials that experienced it all.
Yeah.
Pretty much a little bit of all of it, right?
9/11.
Yeah, but I also
9/11. That's what I'm saying. Like we went through tragedies too. So
yeah, I know.
It's like nut up.
I totally get that. I guess when they're
Nut
complaining, honestly, I feel like why should they have to power through and just accept it and just figure it out?
All of us as humans have to, not just us,
but
not just America. All of us.
I know
as
I
humans,
do, but
it's rough.
I guess
What's the solution? Complain more, because when you come with the problem over and over and over again with no solution, all you're doing is complaining.
And here's the thing:
find a solution, then come to me with the problem.
Honestly, I think they have ideas as far as solutions, but they're not the ones in power. Okay,
fair enough. But again, like I said, for me, that's just my final. Like there's a lot of complaining, not a lot of problem solving, and I come from a problem solving era. Like, don't bring up a problem unless you have the solution.
Yeah.
Like, that's how I feel at work, too. Don't bring a million problems to me. Tell me what you think could fix it.
Yeah, you're
in
no
let's
nonsense.
talk about that. We can talk about what's wrong all day. All day long. We know things are broken. So let's figure out how to fix them and make them better instead of just
I agree
saying,
with you.
I don't want to.
Or F it all.
Okay, I guess
I don't want to.
I guess I don't see that when it comes to Gen Z. I think if they do bring a problem, I think they're open to let's brainstorm and figure something out.
Right.
Oh, no. That's not been my experience.
Oh, really? Okay.
No.
Okay.
Especially not like at work. No.
Okay.
No. Especially managing them.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Different.
Okay. I guess it just depends.
When I've managed both, I've managed 20-something-year-olds, 19-year-olds. I've managed 60-year-olds. Totally different.
Yeah.
But anyways, guys, I know we went way over time today, so I appreciate you guys listening up until this point. Maybe this is your third listen to get through the episode, but we appreciate you. We love you guys, and we'll see you next time. Bye. And that's a wrap on the latest episode of Let Me Finish. Thank you guys for joining us for another week and listening to the latest episode. Don't forget, go like, share, and subscribe on your favorite platforms. And you guys can also follow us and see us on different platforms. I am on Instagram, and that's going to be Uniquely Janice. And then I'll also be on TikTok, Janice H, GENICEH. Michael, where can they find you? I'm only on Instagram, and it's Kasra Salimi. And by Kasra Salimi, I mean Kasra Writes, because I changed it and I just forgot. So it's KASRA Writes, WRITES. Yes. Jillian, where can we find you? Instagram as well, and it's New Jillian Who Dis. New Jillian Who Dis. All right, well, we will talk to you guys later. Bye. Bye.